Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Marcelo Borba from Unesp, Rio Claro, São Paulo, Brazil. So I would like to first of all say hi to everybody from the PME community. This is home for me. It has become my office too. My dining room and living room, they are exactly now my office. For technical reasons, I'm not going to record it here in this beautiful garden. I'm just going to record it at Unesp. So I'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone. This is my second home. This is my office. This is the office of the research group in technology and mathematics education. I came here because then we have a better camera and we have this TV which will be appropriate for making this presentation. So, now that you already know the garden of my home, and you know this real home here, I can take this, and as the technician has just left the room. So we're trying to be as secure as we can in order for you to enjoy this presentation, and at the same time, neither myself nor Geraldo Lima, who you can see there, be running any risks. So we have here alcohol gel for everyone who needs it, and we have alcohol here for everyone. So here's the situation we all live now. We have this big crisis. It has never been the case that we have stopped ICME. It has never been the case that we've stopped PME. But now, since the stretch, we stopped both this year, and we have a different kind of war. Is that a war against the virus? Well, I'm not quite sure of that, but we are sure that we have that our sense of time has changed. At least for a while, we are completely desperate at home, I would say most of us, and then we are seeing like quite a bit of a problem with people who were somehow not, we just could not live the same way we were. There was a sentence that would say, we are all in the same boat. I said, well, we are all in the same airplane. But let's tell one thing. We're in the same airplane, but some of us are in the first class, some of us are in the business class, and a lot of people are in economy, and even more people are on economy where people go standing up for like 15 hours of transcontinental trips. So we are not exactly in the same boat. We have many doubts, The first doubt is how to give a talk, even though I know you're gonna watch this in about a week, but there was nobody here to see me. I don't have eye contact. I don't know if you like what I'm saying or not. It's very funny business. I have the company now of my PowerPoint, of my computer and the camera. Are we ever gonna go back to schools, or is this crisis gonna last forever? Some of you in different parts of the world who already are going back to university or to schools, are you sure that you're gonna be in school the same way you were before this? Nobody knows about this. And in terms of mathematics education, we don't quite know the following thing. If we consider this definition of trends in mathematics education, are we gonna have new trends? Are we gonna have a response to the pandemic that's gonna become a trend? Are we gonna transform mathematics education? Well, I'll let these questions for you. They are way too hard for me, and I'm just gonna do, I'll let this for all of you. So, I have to be grateful to Educational Studies in Mathematics who allowed me to make a presentation of this manuscript that I submit to the special issue of COVID COVID-19, it has not been under review. So consider yourself as a reviewer, and this is an open review, and we can talk about it in the next, in a little while, in half an hour or so. And I also have to apologize because I was going to PME every single year for a long period of time. And now I have not been going that many times. So I'm not really catching up with a lot of what the PME community has done. In a paper, this special issue coming out that's led by Johan Engelbrecht. You probably know him, you from the PME community, because he was the organizer of PME last year in South Africa, which I had everything ready to go, but I could not go. And both him, Salvador, and myself, we are finishing a special issue on technology in about March, April. Well, we had to postpone a little bit our survey paper in order to make a section on the COVID and the impact of that in the digital technology and in the new classroom. So this is pretty much what we're talking about, transformation of the mathematics classroom with the internet. And of course, it's now has really been transformed. So we include some of those questions of the paper that I submitted to Educational Studies, and I tried to answer them, and I'm going to show you some of the answers here of what I'm talking about in the Educational Studies paper, but the questions were already have been published in this paper. Digital technology, it's not only the solution, as many of us think, for this crisis. It also has been part of the crisis. Digital technology has made possible for us to move around everywhere, to go from Brazil to Thailand, from Thailand to China, from China to Sweden, from Sweden to Finland, and maybe this is part of the way that the virus just spread out. There is not much research on kids doing experience online education. So, can we really, do we really know anything about it? Are we prepared for a next crisis? There are many specialists telling that COVID-19 is maybe the first one, and we might have COVID-20 or 21 or something like that. What does that mean for mathematics education? This is one thing that I really would like you to think about. It's not exactly that easy. It's not exactly that we can really appreciate and really make sure that we're going to be able to understand this new world that we live in. In this paper, among many other things, we meet the media as human beings. So you can go check out the paper, and the questions are already there. And these questions are the one I'm going to try to do it here. So here's the first summary of the 3 steps I'm going to be doing, and more than that, I'm going to do that once more. But besides apologizing to the PME community, I should be really thankful and honored for the invitation that the organizers of PME 44 and that the IGPME had made for me to give this talk. So I hope to be answering other questions in a year from now in Thailand after being to Shanghai. So hope to see you there next year. So digital technology and math education, it's not new anymore. We have more than 40 years. We have divided that, some of us, in 4 phases. Maybe the logo phase was an important one. And I'm not telling that the logo research has been finished and it's reinvented all the time with Scratch, for instance, and things like this. But we have that second phase in which software tried to match the curriculum of the textbook. And somehow we could do that, and we could be experiencing the laboratory in schools And of course, these dates are funny dates. They not be this date in your country, and there was not exactly the same in every country. I'm sure that countries like Canada had more computers in the classroom before countries like Brazil. I do not know the reality in Thailand, so I would just stay with here. But about South Africa, I would say it would be similar like the reality of Brazil. The third phase is the arrival of the internet, and the fourth phase is this one of fast internet. Is the age of YouTube, who has about 15 years, and for most people only 10 years or so. That has brought more change in education that some of us who are somehow researching on it, we've been really trying to investigate. I'll tell you a little bit about my research project on digital technology, which has to do quite a bit with the use of digital videos in mathematics education. You can just make a video of Marcelo giving a class like we're doing here. Well, that's not exactly what I'm investigating. We can also do something of animation of GeoGebra and then having a video. That's not exactly this, even though all of that is important. The main thing is trying to use the possibility that new internet, as our artist gave to us, that we somehow could be having students participating in curriculum. We could have, in a Paulo Freire's way, the Brazilian educator who invites students, who is on the basis of critical mathematics education and on modeling, could be used now on videos. So now I've been asking my students for about 10 years, and now more and more, to generate videos as part of the activity in the classroom, as an activity that they did not develop within this cubic area, like the lab in which I'm here now. Well, they're doing that at home, they're doing that online before the pandemic. So this is one thing that we should definitely be thinking about in terms of how we somehow can understand that. So you may think of that. We've been using quite a bit of activity theory. I'll talk a little bit more about activity theory, and you're going to understand how we are using that. But the main idea is that of collaboration. Okay, we're talking now, but I thought it would be interesting to tell about this research project, and there are some papers about it already, in which it's about 4 years now, and somehow this project is, it could be very important in the pandemic, because if we're teaching and the students having regular activity, we might ask them to combine activities that involve arts, that making videos, which it is the cultural symbol of the 21st century. In other words, everybody go, and people do not tell jokes anymore. People show jokes on their cell phone. Hey, hello, here, now it's a joke here that somehow he came back here. So we can just go and show a video on my cell phone to you. Oh, here's a joke, and so we use that all the time to communicate. So I want to be bringing that to the classroom. And I'm going to show you, or try to show you now, let's see if the whole technology works now, and show you a video that students made in Brazil that involves modeling, digital technology, and at the same time, it involves quite a bit of nice mathematics.
Cinco milhões 330 mil metros cúbicos. Em 57 hectares.
Não são apenas números sem contexto. Você sabe quanto vale isso?
Isso valeu muitas vidas.
Muita destruição.
E muitas histórias.
Foi uma tragédia!
Somos mineiros das Minas Gerais e não podemos nos calar diante de tanta tragédia.
Diante do histórico de rupturas de barragem de mineradoras, levamos o tema para as aulas de matemática. Conversamos, pesquisamos e chegamos à conclusão que gostaríamos de saber como seria possível recuperar um meio ambiente devastado por aquele terrível mar de lamas. Ao final de toda a conversa, decidimos que o nosso objetivo era responder quanto de rejeito proveniente da ruptura de barragem do Córrego do Feijão na cidade de Brumadinho deverá ser retirado para iniciar um projeto de recuperação ambiental. Para escolher a área a ser estudada, procuramos imagens de satélite. Nem todas registravam a tragédia. Escolhemos a imagem que mostrava a lama e tomamos o trecho mais próximo à barragem. Decidimos construir uma maquete para melhor modelar o relevo.
Para isso, precisamos de mapas topográficos. Utilizamos curvas de níveis com espaçamento de 10 em 10 metros. Recortamos o molde em papel e depois transferimos para o isopor. Como cada placa de isopor tem meio centímetro e cada placa representa uma cota da curva de nível, então a escala de trabalho foi que cada 1 centímetro na maquete correspondia a 20 metros na realidade.
Por meio de um programa online de imagens de satélites, verificamos que a lama atingiu a cota 790. Construímos 2 maquetes, uma com foco na altimetria e a outra no relevo e vegetação. Nesta, fizemos a simulação da tragédia da lama.
Com o mapa topográfico, conseguimos fazer o molde da cota 790, ou seja, ao calcular essa área, estávamos determinando uma parte da área devastada.
E agora? Temos o molde da área, mas só sabemos calcular a área de quadrados. Como calcular essa área esquisita?
A professora disse que era para a gente escolher um tamanho de quadrado que cada grupo quisesse. Então começamos a preencher o molde da lama. Quando não coubesse mais, era para fazer outros quadrados, com a medida do lado sendo metade da medida do lado do quadrado anterior. E quando não coubesse mais, era novamente para fazer novos quadrados, com o lado medindo metade da medida do lado do quadrado anterior.
E assim, cada grupo escolheu a medida inicial e foi fazendo quadrados, cada vez menores, até preenchermos toda a área do molde. Fizemos uma tabela para ajudar a calcular a área total. Depois de preenchida a tabela, chegamos à conclusão de que a área que estamos estudando tem 570 mil metros quadrados. Aprendemos que existe uma unidade de medida chamada hectare. Cada hectare corresponde a 10 mil metros quadrados. Então, nosso trabalho estava sendo realizado em cima de uma área de aproximadamente 57 hectares.
E aí, gente, ainda não temos nossa questão respondida. Precisamos calcular o tanto de lama que a gente tem que tirar de lá.
Aprendemos que calcular a quantidade de lama é o mesmo que calcular o seu volume.
Mas como fazer isso? Nós supomos que um sólido formado pela lama fosse igual a uma placa de isopor na maquete. A gente calculou a área da base e multiplicou pela altura desejada.
Isso foi uma matéria que não tem no nosso livro. Tinha umas continhas com letra, tipo base vezes altura. Nós aprendemos a calcular áreas de retângulo, triângulos e trapézios. Subdividimos a região desejada em polígonos, que a gente sabia calcular sua área.
Nessa região verde mais escura, passa um rio. Aqui é a cota 770. A área dessa cota deu 94.760 metros quadrados. Calculamos o volume considerando uma altura de 11 metros, sendo 1 metro de profundidade do rio e 10 metros até a próxima cota.
Nesse próximo tom de verde é a cota 780. Essa área deu 428.672 metros quadrados. Para calcular o seu volume, pegamos o valor da área e multiplicamos por 10 metros de altura, quando chega na cota 790, que é o nível que a lama atingiu nessa região.
Após calcularmos as áreas das cotas 770 e 780, estimamos o volume total, que deu aproximadamente 5.330.000 metros cúbicos.
Com os dados do nosso trabalho, esperamos ajudar os moradores de Brumadinho. Mas como?
Reivindicar das autoridades estratégias para uma recuperação ambiental.
Para ter uma recuperação ambiental, precisamos de retirar a lama de lá. Por exemplo, colocar ela numa pilha de rejeito.
Para estimar o custo para retirar essa lama, fizemos assim. Supomos que conseguimos um local para armazenar a pilha de rejeito, situada aproximadamente a 10 km de distância. Orçamos uma empresa de transporte e ela cobra R$ 3,00 por tonelada por quilômetro percorrido pelo caminhão. Os caminhões utilizados transportam 30 toneladas.
Esse valor chegou a quase R$1 bilhão.
Será que as autoridades vão fazer isso?
Mais de lama!
You could see then kids of 12, 13-year-olds with the help of an excellent female teacher, interested in modeling. She's been studying and doing things, and look, she was able to produce this video, which was in the festival. I've been organizing myself in the research group as part of a research project, a video festival involving mathematics education. So you could see that these youngsters made quite a bit of advanced mathematics that usually 12-year-olds don't deal with. And they dealt with the tragedy that we had in Brazil last year with the dam, and which killed many people. Many of them have not even have their body found yet. So before pandemic, we had this. We had other tragedies in many countries too, and now in particular we've been having a horrible tragedy of the president we elected in 2018. But in any case, we should be going back to this idea of technology and seeing that they use the internet, they use videos, they use many things, for being pretty much generating this video. So we've been developing research in trying to analyze what kind of mathematics is being coming. What did the different students learn and things like that. But of course, evaluating, grading these videos, very different. And now, are we going to have to, as I mentioned before, are we going to access, parents as well? Those are things we don't quite know yet, right? If now, suppose now we're just having the festival number 4, the 4th festival, just taking place now. Well, I'm sure parents were even more involved than in other ones. So, and this year, everything is going to be virtual. The other 3 festivals, we have a face-to-face closing ceremony of a day and a half or things like this. Now we're not going to have. But if we're going to use that for the education of the 21st century, for the new normal, are we going to access parents? Is that going to increase the social difference we have if kids have parents who are PhD and others who are bricklayers? For years, many years, I have defended that online mathematics education should be used for teacher continuing education, possibly for undergraduate, but never for kids. Well, with the virus, it became urgent to develop research and research methods to approach this issue. We're in the middle of doing that, and that's what I've been thinking quite a bit after I spent that month or month and a half without knowing what to do with my time and everything off balance, canceling all the trips and canceling all the face-to-face appointments. And now in the new normal, I've been devoting myself to this. In any case, I've been, and some of you know that, developing quite a bit this epistemological view of how to see technology in mathematics education. I've been talking quite a bit in terms of us discussing that. We should be thinking that media, it's an important thing. Media is not exactly only outside of us. And now with the virus, maybe this will help us some to think about things that are known living things. There's quite a polemic within biologists whether a virus is a living being or not. In any case, we all agree it's not a human being. So the main thing is for us to be thinking here for the first part that artifacts have always been present in mathematics. From the Greeks, the compass, paper and pencil for demonstrations, software, videos, combination of different technology, has all been doing that all the time. That's throughout the history of mathematics. This is already a classic. It's a book with my colleague Monica Villarreal, and we published in the spring in 2005. Humans with Media and the Reorganization of Mathematical Thinking, showing many examples in different technology and things. We've been publishing since then, Monica by herself, Marcelo by himself, together. We've been publishing other stuff in journals and in a book too. In any case, this perspective on digital technology, it's also shared by others. So Fabiano Ferrara and Montani have claimed that computers have agents. Jacinto from Portugal and Carreira have been showing how the media is part of the teaching together, their process, and inspired by the work of Levy and the phenomenology and all others. We've been working on this notion. We are in the world with others. And if we are in the world with others, we are then with things as well. We are with humans, but we are with things. So this led to the notion that knowing social, but it's not only social, myself and another human, it's social within everything. This talk is already different because there is nobody here watching, except for a technician, Geraldo Lima, who was here for a minute. So he was inside the room, I was outside, and we changed, so we did not have a lot of air circulating at the same time for the two of us in a room. And so we could have a good quality of filming and things like this. But let me tell you one thing, how are we think of technology this way now? We've been thinking technology as a collective. We produce different mathematics. The mathematics that is being produced in the classroom is very different in the 21st century than it was the classroom based on paper and pencil and on the blackboard 30, 40 years ago. It doesn't mean that many things have changed, but it has changed quite a bit, and now with videos it's also changing quite a bit. So I've been emphasizing the notion of the agents of media, of different media, and so have as well Kaplan and Nardi, who also been talking about, and they have a very nice idea that they talk that maybe, this is my expression, but the idea is theirs, okay? Is the idea that maybe we have like a fuzzy ages. It's not agents or non-agents. It's 0.7 agents, 0.8 agents, like in fuzzy mathematics. So we may have quite a bit of an idea for using this idea. Tik Homerov, who was a student of Vygotsky, has taught me quite a bit the notion that we can and we should, for many, many times, we should be doing like thinking that our thinking is transformed by the different kind of media we use. So I've been telling all the time that media permeate us, and we put humanity within different media. GeoGebra has designed of an international team to put humanity into it. And in the moment that GeoGebra comes, the new version, you also start transforming us as mathematics teachers. So this is the main idea. Here's a little thing of GeoGebra. So humans with media, with non-human. Now with virus, what does that has to do with us? That maybe we have to think that not only a computer so impregnated of programming and of human, but we may think that maybe the agents of Corona has made understand the power and the agents of non-human in collectives. We always like to see us as we are able to create everything and whatever. So we know that's not true because of others, other humans, but that's not true due to ecological reasons and due to things like Corona. Emotions, lifestyles, mathematics education have changed not because our intentions, but due to a virus that only exists because humans with microscopes generate science that make us believe in their existence. And more than that, we need a collective of humans with microscopes to see the virus, and more, the virus has only transformed the whole world in the moment that it found humans and somehow start replicating, and then we don't know exactly how this virus go from one place to another. Corona may accelerate our community thinking of social as more than two people mediated by artifacts. Maybe more than two people, we might have quite a bit of thinking, well, yes, the library made a difference. The fast internet made a difference. And now that my living room have become, at this point, my living room has become everything, right? It has become dining room, and then I go and change it and become office, and then it becomes everything else, Now we think, well, maybe yes. I thought of my home as a place to relaxing, and now it's a place for writing papers and doing online meetings that never end, and you go from one to another, and people never think you were late. In any case, I think that now, I think that we're gonna have to discuss more with our students and with our community what mathematics we want for this area here. We've been thinking quite a bit, and I told you we've been thinking of videos and the whole idea in technology with social semiotics and activity theory. We've been using the Helsinki School idea, and probably most of you have seen this. But we in Brazil, we don't just study what the Europeans do. We also go and transform theory, and we believe we go into the fourth generation of activity theory with our notion with humans with media, in which Soto and Borba, Soto is a woman, Galeguilhos is a woman from Chile, Soto is from Brazil, and we are all studying, and we're becoming with, in a sense that maybe humans with media is not only artifact. The internet sometimes can be a community, or it can be something else. And then we've been having this thing here. That internet can be jumping from one corner of this triangle to this and to this. So this is what we've been working theoretically, showing how humans with media came from the notion, from the first generation of activity theory with the word of Tikhominov and other influence, phenomenology, and Jean Levy and others, and at the same time now is trying to help us to transform this and maybe going to this notion in which things can be more than one thing, and the division between subject and things are not that well established. We think the virus and other known human, non-living things as part of the system, as motive, as object, and as subject. So keep up with us, and maybe if you have a question, I'll try to answer that better. In any case, we're running out of time here, but we should be telling that humans with media, we are pretty much revisiting this. And activity theory has this idea of motive. So it brings emotion and affection to the core of knowing. And now, how is our motives for education, for living in this world without hugging, without kissing the cheek, very famous in Brazil, and handshaking? The whole discussion about humans with media making a new dimension. Finally, we should be talking a little bit about critical mathematics education, who have big names like Arthur Paulo, like Ole Skovsmos, and we've been talking a lot about this idea that we need to put social justice in the core of mathematics education. Today, critical mathematics education is becoming very important because we have countries like the USA, Brazil, and Italy with very far-right governments. And very far-right governments are governments who are trying to push even more social inequality in the whole world. So we cannot think about math education. We cannot think about some education that's gonna improve the conditions of the world if we do not think of mathematics to fight this. And more, coronavirus has been made things even worse. We have now you know, in the last 2 months, you know, now it's even worse because this is 2 months, now there is another month. The richer in the world get even richer. Of course, that means the poor get even poorer. In many countries did not have support for the unemployed. So the social gap is even bigger. We need to work on that in mathematics education. We cannot leave that for others as well. So this is going to be very important that all of us in all our different trends are ready to face this in education nationally, each one in your country, and internationally. Even with the recent boycott of companies like Coca-Cola and others to Facebook and whatever, Facebook and Amazon stocks are still going up. So the very big rich, the 6 big companies and the other, 200, 300 big companies who pretty much control the world, they are concentrating too much money. We have to struggle for that. We have to see what's happening, and I'm documenting that with the help of teachers, that if you are in a poor neighborhood in Brazil, the kids do not have access to internet. So how can you talk about digital technology? How can you talk about epistemology and knowing and whatever? But we can talk a lot about the role of the internet because the internet is not there. So you can either try to finish and send papers. There are some students who walk for very long distance to go and do what? They pretty much go and get paper because the internet don't work. There are other students who have one cell phone for the whole family. And there are 3 kids in a room, in a house about this big, and they have to study. 3 in a cell phone. So the social inequality is increasing quite a bit in these 3 months. Schools, with all the problems that they have all over the world, and in Brazil in particular, with the difference they have when they school the poor and school the rich neighborhoods, we're still very democratic. We're not knowing that having the homes as the school is very unequal. I'm sure that's true in many other countries other than Brazil. So it's hard to communicate. These teachers are helping. Let's see if we do more research on that. We have, a terrible unequal Brazil. Corona agents has done it more unequal. So as of today, we have more than 75,000 deaths. Those are the official ones. I'm not talking about the non-counted ones. But look at this. Everything could be a problem. The house has agents. The university, if they decide to go online, what about the foreign students? What about the ones who can't be online? So we've been working on that. Critical mathematics education have been working, showing how the poor exists, and now we're going to have to show that more in videos and whatever. We're going to have to deal with the dam that it killed many people in Brazil and others in the classroom. And mathematically, we might have to be talking a lot about exponential functions. And again, I'll use a video, and I'm going to show you just 40 seconds of this video, and I invite you to watch the whole thing by on. This one is by a Brazilian physicist who lives in Europe, but it's in English.
Imagine a lake with one lily pad. And after every day at this lake, each lily pad reproduces, creating another lily pad. If after 30 days, all the surface of the lake is covered by lily pads, which will be the day that the lake will have half of its surface covered by lily pads? Stop the video for a second to think if you need.
So, of course, we gotta be talking about exponential function, and this guy does that in a beautiful way to then connect with why did we need social isolation and how does the COVID could just spread out very fast if we had no social isolation or other kind of things. Depending on the country you are luckier, with COVID. In Brazil, it's pretty bad because the president negates the whole thing and it goes against science. So we have to be fighting, the corona and fighting the president and fighting the fascism and fighting the right wing. So many struggles at the same time. So videos like this may happen. It's gonna be important for students to understand exponential function, to understand social inequality, to understand how the richer get richer so fast and how the poor can get poorer really fast. Putting everything together, we are in a global community. The coronavirus may change the mathematics curriculum. May Corona and the internet act together to make humans believe that the internet is the main subject community to provide mathematical information. We've been telling for many years that teachers are not the main source of information anymore. Maybe with this crisis, this is going to be believed by everyone. And maybe teachers are going to be able to teach. And they're going to be able to mediate this. So, before I say thanks for PME for the honorable invitation, I should say that the semi-live opening talk has to do with the theme of this talk. I was invited to record a video that you just finished watching. This is the semi part of it. Now I'll go live to answer questions. Live presentations in Brazil started with famous musicians in early April. Sometime in April, mathematics educators have joined. On our research group, we have this channel now. So you can see some of our lives there about math education and about the struggle if you can understand Portuguese, and this live is going to be there. Thank you, PME. I'll see you in a bit for questions with different clothes and from my own home, not from Unesp. See you later.